PENTA. I know them, you know them, they're the best team in the history of Siege. But in that dynasty, there's a lot of names. As you might expect, players age, they get replaced. But what you might not know is that there is an 8th name that should be on this list. And no, it is not Uno. Don't even try. There's an 8th player that should be talked about when we discuss PENTA's legacy and PENTA's dynasty. And the reason why is because he was there at the start. And that's a big deal. You don't know him. And this guy kickstarted the best team in history. Coming into 2017, PENTA was not a top dog. They had won the first ever Pro League championship, but started going on a downhill trend ever since. After not making the 6th Invitational, PENTA was practically over. Fabian and Eunice are considering retirement. Pengu's there, but is he really good enough? And it's not looking much better because all the other teams, there's a lot more top dogs. There's a lot of teams that you would put ahead of PENTA in the power rankings. You've got Meepies playing Ducks. You've got Renshiro's Millennium. You've got Sisu, who just picked up this young gun called Kanto Raketti. There's a lot of people here, and they're all really good. Better than PENTA. So coming into year 2 of the court, looking pretty strong. Fabian's serviceable captain. With the power of hindsight, we know he's really fucking good. Eunice, still a really good player at this point in time. He was picked up to be a star fragger. He's still a star fragger. And Pengu, he's a solid player. He's not, at this point in time. At this point in time, he's good. He's not great. This is where that changes, though. PENTA picked up this Spanish guy. He was a hard sport player. His name was Goga, the 2nd player. A German rookie who had previously played with Fabian on a team called Arrow, KS. Played those supportive roles on defense, and he served as a sort of second entry on attack. But PENTA was going for a Hail Mary, and when you go for a Hail Mary, you're looking to break a few norms. You're looking to break the game. And PENTA broke the game. They picked up a 6th player. They picked up Falco. Is a champion. He was a star player of the French super team E-Punks until he left them to join PENTA. Now, what was Falco known for? Falco was known for 2 things. His mute and his pulse, and his game sense.
KS was able to take down Wesker. Diffuser does get planted. Falco trying to come into the showers. See if I can spit it out there. There we go. Falco will win.
You got it. Falco with his Falco game sense, knowing that the last player always got to be in lockers for whatever reason. May as well go back in there.
When Falco comes on there, all of a sudden things go from, oh, it might be all right, to, oh shit, there's some super team shit happening here. Okay. That does raise a question, though. How does the 6-man roster work? This is not a sub situation. Falco is not playing when one of the other players cannot make it. This is a legitimate 6-man roster where certain players play certain maps and then swap out for other players. Falco played on Consulate and Cafe, 2 very strong maps for Mute and Pulse. You would think that this causes some role clash, because there has to be some overlap somewhere. But in reality, it actually works out great because of the players that were swapping in and out and the style of play that PENTA used. First things first, there were 3 constant players in this roster. They played every single map, every single match. Eunice, Pengu, and Goga. And those are the 3 players that you want to remain constant. Eunice, he is that guy.
You're not that guy.
Okay.
Yeah? Are you? Absolutely.
He's going to get in there, take your map control, and take your hard entry fights, and he's going to win them.
Piano windows, and this is similar to what we saw from them on their very first upstairs attack.
Watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh, Judas in the jump ball out, and he actually takes down Baraz.
That's what you want. That's your first constant, all right? Your second constant, Pengu. He's essentially defining the playstyle here because he's a Blackbeard one-trick on attack.
Pengu's going to be putting himself on this balcony. This is what really the typical position where Pengu is going to be attacking this upstairs.
And he's going to just harass the defenders. Blackbeard has a 150 HP shield. Pengu's really good at using it. He's going to at least get 1 kill harassing anchors, possibly get 2 on the cutoff as PENTA starts working to take map control off of whatever he's cutting off. So he's defining the playstyle. And then your third constant is Goga, your hard support, your great enabler. He's setting Eunice up with the drones. He's setting the rest of the team up with information play. He's playing the bomb bitch roles. And with these 3 players, you have a really strong foundation. That lets Fabian, Falco, and KS play a bit more of those flex roles. Falco continues to play his iconic mute pulse. Fabian's a truth flex. KS, we already went over it. The other reason why PENTA worked as a 6-man roster is because their play style was compatible. PENTA's loose, they're fast, very aggressive. They're going to get in your face a little bit, all right? And The places at which they excel, the reasons why they were so strong, is because they thrived in those 2v2s and 3v3s. The messy situations where individual skill and on-the-fly coordination will win you rounds more often than a set strategy or some pre-planned shit. It also helps. Fair play. Pengu, this is where Pengu went from a good player to an amazing player.
On to the round, still half the way to go, and it's a 5-on-2. Pengu's moving on down towards the front of the van. Good to take a pop shot there. He gets one, he gets two! And we're gonna have Skies, I believe he's still out front. No, he's actually gonna come down the yellow stairs. And right now, Diffuser's gonna go in front of the van. As Pengu is now tossing himself around. He goes, he's gonna down one. Can he get the ace here? He's going for it. Pengu's got one more kill to go. England's gonna drop Fabian. It's a one-on-one now with a moment, 3 seconds left to go. He's gonna go with a shotgun, goes for it and misses.
Where him and Eunice start competing to see who is the best player of the year. Penta beat Playing Ducks in a 2-0 fashion. This isn't just any team, this is one of the best IGLs in the history of the game, combined with one of the best teams of the time and the region, getting beat in a 5-3, 5-1 fashion. This is a dominant scoreline, and after this, Penta converted it by beating Rise and the Lems 2-1. Vitality goes down in the group state. After this, Penta beats the Spanish G-Bots 2-1 fashion, and that moves them into the grand finals against Sisu with ya boy Kanto Raketti. I would talk more about this grand finals of the regular season, but the reality is that it doesn't matter. At this point in time, the grand finals of a regular season is nothing more than a seeding match in a Pro League finals format that doesn't take seeding into account, so it doesn't matter. Just roll the die,
Strategic level, advanced drop shotting going on.
Penta's Hail Mary to make something work and start winning paid off in spades. Not only are they coming into the Pro League Finals as a strong team, they're coming in as probably one of the favorites to win it all. What's important about this run through the regular season is how Penta won, because they weren't just winning, they were dominating. If they lost a map, they were fighting you for every single round. You were winning your own map pick, 6-5. If Penta wins a map, you average less than 2 rounds. That's what you're dealing with if you're playing them on their map pick or you're playing them on the deciding map. You barely win your map 6-5, and all of a sudden you're on their map, and they just BAM! Going into the Pro League Finals, there's a lot of unknowns. Because there's the Xbox crossovers. All of Xbox was axed after the first 6 Invitational, and a lot of those top players, they move from the sticks, move on to mouse and keyboard. Some of them are in the Pro League Finals. Elevate was the North American team, the first opponent of Penta Sports, and Elevate was made up of names such as Laxing, Skies, Bosco, England, and Easily. These are icons of North America, and don't you dare disrespect Wet Meat's Revenge Arc. Elevate, first on the chopping block, they lost Consulate 5-2, which, let's just go over it now. Consulate was Penta's map. They did not lose this map a single time during this season. The reason why I'm saying this is that Penta redefined Consulate. Best example of this, first floor roam game on piano front lobby, being enabled by mute jammers down in the basement, being on elevated surfaces, and it really fucked with roam clears. A tiny sample, but a prime example of what Penta was doing to this
Yeah,
map.
and these mute jammers, as you can see here, are going to mean that V3 are going to go into that engagement with those roamers blind. They're going to have to fight them, you know, not knowing which corner exactly they need to peek.
Map 2, Elevate's map pick of Oregon. Penta goes up early, but the North Americans show some grit. They start clawing it back. Not only that, they're starting to show some really good adaptations. They're starting to pick apart Penta here. It's looking a little unsteady, kind of like me, because that booze is hitting. But the Europeans know how to punch back.
As well as series point, and England come at the top of the stairs here with the cover of Laxing. However, it looks as though Eunice gets taken down, and we will see a trade by England. KS getting a double kill. It's now all up to Laxing in a 1-on-4. He's going to come on down here by the east balcony, comes on over, and KS will get a 3K, and we're going to see Penta take home the win. They're going to move into tomorrow's semifinals.
This is where we face the second factor. Brazil. Just the whole region. See, Brazil, up until this point, was completely insulated. Like, we knew Brazil was a thing. They were playing competitive Rainbow Six, but they were self-contained. The first outreach of Brazil into the world stage of Rainbow Six Esports was at the 6th Invitational, where they got promptly stomped by Troy Canadian and Continuum. All we know is that they have cracked individuals and a crazy playstyle that is unlike anything we have seen before. And this is Penta's next opponent, V3 Masters. Kamikaze and Psycho leading the charge. V3 Masters comes in swinging, takes down the first map of Chalet 5-2 against Penta.
And he will be taken out by Ty. We are going to have V3 securing map number 1 here on Chalet.
At the cost of winning that map, V3 Masters had to give up information, and that information proved deadly. It took away one of the advantages that gave them that map win in the first place. See, nobody had experienced Brazilian play, right? But now Penta did. Penta recognized that V3 Masters always went for a full roam clear and always used drones before pushing anything. They used this information and did what any sane individual would do.
Into the site to play it safe. They're going to have to contest Falco, who is playing in the open area office with his mute jammer charges, and that's going to mean that they're going to have to challenge him blind. We've seen Falco do this time and time again on multiple different maps, but they don't even know that Gogo's actually playing in that office either. They know Falco's somewhere around here, but they're not. He's actually moved his way over to the kitchen, so this is very dangerous for V3.
This is almost where you want to have the bait game. Gogo, however, will give away his position here, trying to lay it down on the PZD. The L85 is going to come out, and now we're going to see a little bit of engagement there. Gogo here inside of that middle admin office. We do need Falco, though, to try to step it up a little bit and get a crossfire onto him. Right now, he's just waiting for the trade. He does successfully. He gets the double kill.
It should be noted that Falco was finding impact both with his utility because of how impactful his mute jammers were at disrupting the V3 attack, but also he was finding a multi-frag left and right. So V3 Masters get solved. They have no answer to Penta's adaptation of more bodies and more utility on the roam. They get sent back home.
To hear the call from the Yokai, and there it is. He's going to go for the shots around the corner. Looks as though we're going to have Falco take down Psycho. Goes for another kill. He gets one there, and Eunice will drop the shots down.
This brings us to the grand finals. The team that nobody expected to really do anything at the start of Year 2 is in the grand finals of Year 2 Season 1. Fabian and Eunice were gonna retire. Pengu hasn't won shit for over a year. Black Dragons was a team comprised of players that you might have heard of before. Just maybe. There's a few people with some minor accomplishments on there. You got Zig, you got One, you got Bullet, you got Yuke, you got Nesk. I mean, come on, dude. It's fucking Nesk. The iconic 1 versus 5, that was this time. That was what everyone knew. I said Brazil was self-insulated. I said it was cut off from the rest of the world. You know what did get through? Nesk 1 versus 5. And now, at his first crack, he's in the Pro League Finals. The only thing more fresh than that 1 versus 5 is the mangled corpse of G-Bots down in the corner that he had just torn open 20 minutes before the finals.
Troy's going to be on his side. He gets one kill, and he will not get it. He gets another, though, on the Uke. He's going to come around. It looks like Nesk will get a double kill on the He's going to get a 4K!
So, coming into these finals, you're expecting a real epic showdown. Like I'm going to keep it a buck. There's a lot of talent here. There is a lot of talent here. This is the perfect situation for a slugfest. This is a perfect situation for a brawl. It's going to be a bloodbath. There's too much talent.
And Zig will go down by the hipfire from Pengu.
The only round that Black Dragons did win on this particular map was because Nesk, he got a 4K.
Happening here. He's got to go for the shot, but he cannot get it. And we will have Penta win this round. They're now going up 3-0. Going to go 1, 2, 3. They're going to go for the shots, and he misses one. He's not going to look for the style, but he gets it.
They only won one round in that entire series.
It was a bloodbath, but it's more precise to call it a massacre. Black Dragons lost 10-1. It's more precise to say that Nesk had one round against Penta. It was a hero round. It was the first round of the entire finals. After that, Penta closed out 10 rounds in a row with all 6 of their players. But I'm also lying a bit here, because it wasn't just a 10-0. It was actually a very close series. In all reality, this was a very close affair. And the 10-1 scoreline was just a matter of the fact that every time the rounds got into a messy situation, every time that these rounds, these close rounds, got down to a 2v2 or a 3v3, that's just where Penta thrives. Now this all matters because the Pro League Championship that Penta won here is the first of many. For a lot of these players, it was their first ever trophy, the first step to the start of your dynasty. If you're a winning team, why change the winning formula? The reality is that super teams are hard to keep
We just
winning.
hope that both teams are prepared for a good game.
Awesome. And one of the things that Kix and I were mentioning earlier is that you might have had some roster changes. Have you had any roster lineup changes for your team?
Well, we tried to play with a 6-man lineup because we had 6 really strong individual players. That kind of fell apart 2 days ago. We decided that going back to a 5-man lineup is probably the easiest way to not confuse players and like have too much different things. So when you get a new player in that doesn't really play maybe that map, he doesn't have any idea what he's doing.
Gotcha.
So instead we got back to 5-man lineup, and we're hoping that's going to fix it.
What we can glean from that very political answer to the question is that there's probably a lot more at play here. No smart, intelligent team with a general manager / coach as smart as Shaz is going to make a roster change 4 days ahead of a Pro League season starting. That's simply not how they operate, because that's not intelligent, and I know they're smart enough to not do that. But where does this leave Falco? PENTA, obviously, continues on and makes the greatest team of all time. Where does the Frenchman go? Falco goes back to the French super team. He goes back to Millennium, and with Millennium, Falco goes to a few more Pro Leagues, goes to a few more Pro League finals, goes top 8 to the Paris Major in front of a home crowd. Just get 2-0'd by a little team called G2. After that, Falco fades into obscurity, competing in Challenger League seasons until eventually, in late 2020, he retires. What's notable about Falco isn't that, he won chips. It's the manner in which he did so. Youngtis was a notable team because they were one of the first to introduce that super structured style of play back in Year 1, Season 2. That was what they were known for, this super structured style of play. His second trophy win, Year 2, Season 1 with PENTA. What is he doing? He's operating on a 6-man roster, something that we've never seen before and have never seen since. He's a player with a better trophy case than some of your favorites. Nesk, for instance, only has a single Pro League championship. Falco? He has 2. As with a lot of the players from the early days, a lot of the fan favorites especially, you have to wonder what would have happened if these early greats, what would have happened if they had just come along when things were more established. Things were a bit bigger when they got there. That's the big what if. And that's the big what if Falco faces. Clearly he was good, but how much higher could he have gotten? Instead, Falco is just PENTA 6th man. A man who helped kickstart an era that he wasn't even a part of. Take 5 pages, turn it into 15 minutes. What is it, like, you turn 1 page into 2 or 5 minutes worth of talking? So I gotta speed this up. And I'm also making it easier on myself, totally. So, bottoms up. But what you might not know is that there is an 8th name that should be on this list. And no, it is not Uno. Don't even try with me, boy! Do not try with me. This isn't even booze. This is just how I normally am. Pengu, also pretty solid player. At the very least, he's a winner. He knows how to win. He did it in Year 1, Season 1. At worst, he's like, That's a very mean characterization. Where the fuck am I coming from? Pengu was really fucking good.